So during our services, right, we have Shavuts performed by our subs, our priests, and also the Hukamnama or the daily message is done by the priest. But at home, this can be done by anyone, right? That could be the father, the mother, right? There's no separation of gender in our religion. So it could also, even the children can do it. But there is also an idea of taking Amrit, which is similar to Bar Mitzvah, maybe, or right. So it's similar to baptism almost, right? So a Sikh who takes Amrit is committed to the religion. They wear the 5 Ks that you saw in the presentation. They're committed to selfless service and equality for all. This can be done at any age. It's not restricted to a certain age. It can be done when you're 7 to 70, whenever you want in your life, whenever you're ready to make that commitment. Right?
So could we just go back to the original questions? Can you add Judaic and doesn't give us spice up like that, but obviously anyone can. In our same place of worship, you don't have to be at a particular level to be able to sit behind the holy book to read it. So any and everybody is welcome to. I'll let the experts chime in.
If I may say something.
Yes, sure.
So actually, one good thing about this particular temple, Guru Gobind Singh Foundation, is that once a month, the last Friday of the month, actually there's a special program for the kids as part of the Friday evening congregation gathering, and kids actually perform all the hymns, and then one of the kids gets to sit where the priest is sitting now, and they actually read the Hukamnama or the order of the day. So kids are encouraged, and they are able to, they are able to sit up there and read from the scripture.
Actually, the language that is written, the scriptures are written, it was invented by the Sikh founders. The idea was that people would only read Sanskrit or other languages to gain spiritual knowledge, and it was not available to common people. So that's why the Sikh gurus developed this special language. It was an everyday, very common language. So the wisdom to reach God and to become close to God, it should be an everyday affair for every person. Every lay person can have access to this knowledge. So this should not be limited to any priestly class or someone who's special. So in our congregation, it's a very egalitarian system. Any man or woman can lead the prayer, read from here as the final word of the service. So it's very open that way. Yes, he has gotten a training and he has a little more understanding of how to interpret it, but reading is available to anybody. You had a question?
Actually, they did before.
Go ahead.
I was interested in the different turban wraps. Is there a particular reason for the different styles?
So the question was, if you couldn't hear, what is the difference between the different styles of turban? And really it comes down to personal preference. As was said in the presentation, the point guard has a smaller turban that younger kids can easily tie and wear themselves. And after that, usually it's a personal choice what type of turban you wear, if at all. Some Sikhs also choose not to wear a turban.
So we choose the color depending on our mood.
So it's a fashion stick like this.
Yeah. Today I felt like this color.
So, you said that was 1,400 some pages. Who are the writers, original writers to your holy book? And also, is that book complete or do you add to it?
So originally, the 1st through 5th Guru's teachings were kept in a book called the Adi Granth, which was almost a shortened version of this, slightly. But after the 9th Guru's passing, the 10th Guru decided to add on his the 9th Guru's scriptures to the book, and as well as I said, Hindus or Sikhs or Muslim saints, and they also have their messages in. So the official compiling or final compiling of the Guru Granth Sahib was done by our 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, and it is complete now, and we haven't put much in.
And the hymns written by people who were born in 12th century all the way to the 16th century. So the hymns of this 500 years of spiritual wisdom was collected here. So this is the final form. Nobody can change even one letter of the book or the holy volume, and it is complete for us. But we, at the same time, there is a respect given to who's following the Muslim way or following the Hindu way. But you know, as long as they feel closeness to God, we respect them. That's what is the message is here, that we must respect people of all faiths and all God. I mean, the people who are following God.
I was interested in the symbolism of these, the arrow in the circle, and it's very interesting. I don't know what it's called.
So, as you can see around the Guru Granth Sahib, we've given it many decorations. There's a canopy, which represents shelter, right? We want to shelter, keep our Guru Granth Sahib safe. Underneath the Guru Granth Sahib, we have pillows and blankets, things that in India often symbolize, you know, if you're sitting on pillows on a throne or on a raised platform, you're like a king almost, right? So we treat our book, our Guru Granth Sahib, like a king in that way. And it's also on a raised platform in the same way. And another part of that is this, the Gurdwara Sahib, which is used to as a symbol of respect, because if you're, let's say you're a king in India in the 15th century and there's flies around you, you have a servant who wipes away the flies, right? So of course there are no flies in here, hopefully, but we keep this as a tradition, as a symbol of respect. So someone, while the book is being read, will keep fanning it.
And the other symbolism is it's because Sikhs went through a lot of persecution. So in during the sixth Guru's time, the Gurus instructed Sikhs to become self-reliant and also be able to fight back any persecution. So that's how Sikhism kind of had an addition of people carrying weapons. That's why this kirpan that I wear and those who are initiated is a symbol that we are actively ready to fight for justice. So these symbols remind us of our history, that we must oppose injustice and stand for those who don't have a voice or don't have a way of defending themselves. So it reminds us of our social responsibility, that we are just not be a spectator of anything injustice happening. So it reminds us of our history and our way of opposing injustice actively. Yeah, so you will see this kind of a weaponry as symbolism as used that this is. In Sikhism, there is a spiritual path, and there is a path that you oppose justice and you adopt a sort of a more temporal role, but we combine it together. So it's spiritual wisdom, but at the same time, your social responsibility.
When the book was canonized, what was the political atmosphere in the area?
It was very, very, there was a lot of fight going on, a lot of conflict. There was a fight between Hindus and Muslims, and then there was a fight between upper caste and lower caste. So there was a class war, there was a religious war, and there was a political war. Because most of the invaders, people who had come to rule over India, had come from Central Asia, or from Iran or Afghanistan. So the people of India were opposing them. So there was a lot of conflict. So that's why Guru Granth Sahib, the formation of the six scriptures, became a very political thing in a way, because you are giving space to people who are in the lower strata of the society, who are disrespected, not given any position, and at the same time you have Hindus and Muslims being brought together here. So that's why the person, the Guru who compiled the six scriptures, he finished his job of making this entire scriptures in 1604, and 1606, 2 years later, he was killed. He was persecuted in Lahore. So it was, and there was the upper caste were also opposing because you were giving space to untouchables and cobblers and butchers who are considered untouchable, considered low in the social structure, and the Brahmins are the top. So then they were also opposing that this is blasphemy. You can't do that. So yeah. Any other? You had a question?
Well, actually, you hit on it. I just was asking about the symbolism of the objects around. Of note, he did mention that the Gurdwara is like a king, and I noticed there are 6 umbrellas.
Yeah, this is
above
just,
it,
yeah.
which is-
This canopy is also a symbol of a king.
I've got it.
How has America influenced the religion? I mean, I can say like America has influenced Judaism in a big way. Most of us are fairly liberal in this one particularly because of the American influence. Like how is the religion different here than maybe in Punjab?
We are influencing America. No, I mean, the point is that in Sikhism, it is already way advanced in its operation. There is an equal role given to women. So this is not something that America is teaching us. So we are 500 years ahead of this notion that women should be given equality. And similarly, the sense of service, bringing people together, we maintain our traditions. I mean, like, the only change you might see that people usually sit on the floor to eat langar, which is a sense of equality. But here, people have chosen to sit all together on a table and chair. That's the only thing that you can see. But other than that, I mean, because Sikhs are under a lot of pressure because of the prejudice and discrimination, so some Sikhs choose to give away their outer symbol, outer identity. But at heart, they are still Sikhs. So that's the only kind of a drawback we feel of being here, because there's a social influence to conform and to, sort of melt away in the general society. But other than that, we stay focused on keeping our tradition alive as is, as much as possible. But that's a very important question, and we struggle with that every day.
And as do we, and that's why, I mean, I don't wear a yarmulke generally during the day or
Yes,
in my life generally. But
yes,
same type of thing.
yes, exactly, yeah. And that's an important question that both minority communities face in this country. Yes. I remember one of the first speakers from the Jewish community who came to our congregation, that was Hyman Bookbinder. We're talking about 1986 or 87. He was one of the most prominent Jewish leaders. And he came to our congregation and he said, we must make America a mosaic rather than a melting pot. So we remember that always. It's a mosaic.
If there's no more questions, if there's no more questions, we can move on to our small offering. Like I said, this is called Rashad, and it is a small snack that is off. Okay, this mic is dead.
Let's get everyone to sit down first from there.
So, right, so if we could,
Have you shown the book yourself?
if you guys want to get it closer, we can definitely do so.
And you can see that's how, so we also read from left to right, rather than right to left. Yeah, so we read from left to right. And the words are written in Punjabi language, which is basically a alphabet discovered by the Sikh founders. And every hymn is set on music. So we are very much musical people. So the spiritual tradition is spoken in the form of music. So every hymn is we are told which particular melody you can choose to sing this hymn. So because the founder of the Sikh faith was a singer, so he developed this whole system. So that's why the whole thing is in music. And like this one is starting a new chapter, and it is in Rag Todi, which is usually sung in the morning. So when you're in a very fresh mood, when you are starting your day, you can sing this hymn that you will bring you more at a deeper level. So it's a very, very complex scripture. It's not just words. There's so much organization. There's a grammar. There's a sort of each hymn has a number written, which indicates that you can't change it. If you change it, then these numbers won't come together. So everything is mathematically organized in a very laborious manner. Yeah. So, thoda particular scriptures. So basically, when we take the first hymn, we open it at a random page, and we read from the top left.
So the first and last one rarely read.
Well, it is read in another setting, but when we are having a common congregation, yes. Yeah, you're right.
Are these handwritten, like hand scribes, each of these books?
Yes, yes.
Letter by letter?
Yes. Actually, now there are many youngsters who are in America born, who are learning the art calligraphy of writing Sikh scriptures.
So anyone can write. We have particular people who are only able to write Torah. So they have to be a particular type artist. You allow anyone.
Yeah. For so far, there is no regulation.
So far.
Don't say anything about that. We want to keep it like that. So we want to keep it. Yeah, a lot of youngsters have started doing that. They do workshops. They teach people how to write to learn. And they do it in such an artistic manner. So I think we don't want to over the time or anything.
Yeah, so we can have everyone sit down as we serve the prashad.